Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to East Central Missouri and the world, and welcome to the James Strong Show podcast number 239. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making us a part of your day. I appreciate it. This podcast was recorded on the morning of Saturday, October the 9th, from the James Strong Studio in Western St. Charles County. Topic of today's podcast, it's going to be a little bit different than normal, something I haven't done in quite some time, and that is shake things up with controversy. We're going to be talking about sex. We're going to be talking about race. We're going to talk about gender. We're going to talk about people that are just different and why we're so sensitive about saying anything that could perhaps be perceived as being something less than uplifting towards another individual, whether it's a slip of the tongue, whether it's a joke by a comedian, whatever. And I've talked about this topic before, but I've never talked about it with the, what's the word I want to use? The overwhelming blanket, because I'm basically going to include every group with the exception of middle-aged rich white people, okay? as in their opinion, victims, the victim society, I guess I'll say, and why I believe it's silly and why I believe it's misplaced and why I believe it's not good for anybody, especially those fiddling the violin, wanting people to feel sorry for them. Like I said, this is going to be controversial. Many of you will say, good for you, Strong. It's about time somebody said this. Some of you are going to be shocked and you're going to call me racist, sexist, homophobic, etc., etc., etc. Don't know where you're going to fall, but I will tell you this with all honesty and sincerity. The purpose of this podcast is to put stuff out there that many in the traditional media sources are not saying. They're just not. And I think it's because they won't, because if they do, they will be canceled. They will be fired and their paychecks will be cut off. Well, guess what? That doesn't happen to me because I don't draw a paycheck for this job. And I don't report to anybody except for the guy in the mirror. Okay. So you will hear candid and straight from the heart commentary on today's podcast, the essay portion of today's podcast. But we have a few things I do want to talk about before we get into the meat of the subject. Quickly, Jaguar update. The car is finally, it's been media blasted, it's been sealed, and the sheet metal work has begun. And sometime early this week, my father and I will be going to the shop to take a look at, to see the progress, and get an ETA as to when I'm going to get the car back and start assembling. So exciting news on the car. Finally, we're making progress. But that's just how things are nowadays, folks, with everything. Everything's behind schedule. Everybody's short people. Everybody is just a little bit behind. But that's just how things are today. So you take a deep breath and you just accept it and live with it. Okay. Today's October the 9th, and baseball is over if you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan, because, they made the playoffs and they lost the one-game playoff to the Dodgers. And I will say this as a Cardinal fan, and more importantly, as a baseball fan. The Cardinals this year were not a very entertaining team until about maybe late August, early September for sure. Then they became very, very entertaining. Just not because they rattled off 17 victories in a row, okay, but because they started doing things right. They started playing, it looked like they started paying attention. How's that? They stopped doing stupid stuff. They started doing very fundamental baseball things, and it's fun to watch something like that, okay? Now, did they lose the one-game playoff to a team that was on paper far superior? Yeah. But they went into the ninth inning tied 1-1. Okay. So, and the old baseball adage of good pitching will always shut down good pitching. The Dodgers have very good pitching. By the way, going against the Dodgers and going into the ninth inning 1-1, that obviously means the Cardinals had pretty good pitching too. So it was a good game. They were entertaining at the end of the year. Hopefully they'll be entertaining next year, and I am looking forward to next year. In the meantime, we've got playoffs and World Series baseball that do not include my Cardinals, but that's okay. One thing about Major League Baseball I did want to mention. I've done a podcast on this before, but I'm going to go ahead and touch on it again. I don't like the direction that Major League Baseball is going in when it comes to the money part of it. If you watch the WTBS broadcast, I guess it's not WTBS anymore, just TBS cable broadcast of the Cardinal-Dodgers game. Two of the biggest advertisers, both on the green screen boards behind home plate and on the superimposed logos they put at the bottom of the pitcher's mound nowadays. DraftKings and Roman. And you think to yourself, well, they're just sponsors. What are you worried about? What's the difference between DraftKings and Roman versus a Chevrolet commercial or a Budweiser commercial? Well, I'll tell you what the difference is. DraftKings is a gambling site, and it only exists so you can bet on the game. That's all they do. That's their only product is gambling. Now, you think, well, what's wrong with that? People love to gamble on the game. In fact, they've been doing it forever in Las Vegas and also just, pools, office pools, etc. So why not let somebody get in on it? Well, here's the deal. Pete Rose has been arguably one of the best players. No, actually definitely one of the best players to ever play the game. Arguably the best player to ever play the game because he has more hits than anybody else. Banned from baseball because he bet on baseball. Banned forever. No passing go, no collecting $200, banned forever because he bet on baseball. And yet Major League Baseball is accepting hundreds of millions of dollars from advertisers that make a living betting on baseball. Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle, two of the best players to ever play the game, once upon a time were also banned from baseball. You know why? Because they worked for a casino as greeters. That's right. They bring a whale into the MGM Grand or Caesars or whoever they work for. And part of the aura of bringing these whales in is, you know what? You can meet and have dinner with Mickey Mantle. You can meet and have drinks with Willie Mays. So they were just showcasing, here's Hall of Fame players, one of the best players ever. Good chance you were a big fan of theirs growing up. Here's one of your boyhood idols that you can go ahead and have dinner with. That was it. And they banned them from baseball. When the day comes when players are once again caught betting on baseball or throwing games because DraftKings threw them a big thing, well, or not DraftKings, but somebody who uses DraftKings, let's say that, threw them a spiff to do this or that, then the game's done. And it will happen one day. As far as Roman goes, what is Roman? Most of you know. Basically, what is Roman? It's Dr. Woody's boner pills, okay? It's something you take, give your Woody, and that way, you can make mama happy. That's what Roman is. And, well, I'm not saying that that's an evil product, and I guess there's a need for it. There's a market for it because you see it advertised all the time. The advertisements for these types of product basically say, and I'm paraphrasing here, but this may be exactly what they say, but basically, men, if you're having trouble in the bedroom, take this product. And you can expect erections that last from 30 to 60 to 90 minutes or longer. I don't want a 90-minute erection. Okay? I don't know of any woman who wants their man to have a 90-minute erection, 90 minutes or longer. Okay? I don't know if it's physically possible for the, I'm going to try to say this as delicately as possible. If you're the catcher, you're not going to be able to accept 90 minutes of erection. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. To have these as the big sponsors for Major League Baseball, I know it's all about the money, folks, because somebody's going to pay Max Scherzer $50 million to pitch next year. But maybe, just maybe, Major League Baseball could stick to more traditional money sources than DraftKings or Dr. Woody's boner pills. And maybe the players accept a little less money. The owners accept a little less profit. Maybe, only if you want the kids involved. But again, that's their choice. Last but not least, today in Missouri, in St. Louis area, it's going to be in the 90s. That's right, or at least close to 90, low 90s, on October the 9th. That's just unprecedented. About a week and a half ago, we kind of shut the pool down. We didn't cover it, but we cut the salt way back, cut the filtering way back, stopped running the vacuum. But no big deal because we weren't going to swim in the pool anymore, right? Well, guess what I did this week? Cleaned it up, shocked it, vacuumed it, got it back to where it needed to be, and we will be swimming today and tomorrow in the pool. So the next time somebody says, well, we have to stop global warming, I'm going to say, you know what? Go with it, because global warming, as far as I'm concerned, at least for this weekend, is being embraced. As I mentioned before, the topic of today's discussion is sex, race, gender. Are we all too sensitive in the way that we approach it? And by sex, race, and gender, I'm going to include men's opinion about women, the whole Me Too thing. Once upon a time, women enjoyed having men look at them and smile. Now, please understand, there's a difference between a man seeing an attractive woman and giving her a smile versus a man seeing an attractive woman and oogling or saying something that's inappropriate. Big difference. There's also a difference in a woman who dresses more conservatively, okay, leaving a whole lot to the imagination, let's just say, walking down the street, and a woman who's got all her goodies hanging out and jiggling about. And if you dress like that and then you get oogled by a man, don't be shocked. Because what happens quite often, I find, is that women draw the line and the men don't know where that line is. It's an invisible line where the inference is, I want you to go here, but not there. I want you to go there, but not over there. Okay. And if a man goes up to that line, which, by the way, he doesn't know what it is, if he goes right up to that line, okay, mission accomplished. If he goes past that line, he's a sexist. If he doesn't go up to that line, he's obviously gay. That is the new perception on sex. We've got the new Bond film that I'm not sure if it's I think it came out yesterday. Okay, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's recently out. Okay, maybe in select theaters, but I think it's out in all theaters now. And James Bond has changed. The whole James Bond character has changed, and I don't know if it's changed just because the producers want to go ahead and go a different route and make money, because these films are certainly making money. But the old Sean Connery days of James Bond are by the wayside. Never again in a Bond film will you hear James Bond say, or you will never hear a sexy Bond girl say, "My name is Pussy Galore," and have Bond say, "I must be dreaming." You'll never have Bond slap a gal on the butt anymore. You'll never have a lot of that stuff. Okay? You'll never have somebody as in Diamonds Are Forever, the Lana Wood character said, "I'm plenty plenty O'Toole. And Bond says, of course you are. Those days have gone. That ship has sailed. I thought they were hilarious.